Hello YouTubers, you're watching Just Do It Yourself channel, and today we have 2010 Cadillac SRX, and there's no power steering. And also there was the fluid leak. So let's take a look under the hood. If you look over there, it tells us that there is a power steering reservoir. Yes, you need to take the cover off. And to get the cover off, you need 10mm socket to get it out. So let's get this engine cover off. We'll use 10mm socket to get this bolt off. It's quite a long one. And I'm using 1/4" impact. I will leave the links in the description to the video for all parts and tools that you may need for this job. Everything that I can find easily available online will be posted there. Also check my new Amazon channel, or I should say Amazon store. Everything in the description to the video. So we'll put the oil cap back on so nothing gets inside. Here is the reservoir. We'll crank it open. It seems like it's empty. Okay, so let's go underneath and look for leaks. You can see that it's leaking in this area. And if we look up, you'll see that the hose that goes to the oil cooler or steering fluid cooler is wide open. So that's the issue, and we'll need to replace it. To get better access to those hoses, I will remove this apron, and it's a few 10mm bolts. There are a few, seems like 7mm all the way around, so we'll just get this cover off. Alright, so a quick summary on the apron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 7mm. Then we have 1, 2, 3 on one side, 1, 2 on the other side, and 2 10mm bolts. Right, so now we have a little bit of better version. So on this side, it's connected with the hose clamp. Then it goes through the frame. There must be a bracket. I'm just trying to shine the light. There's the bracket that holds those two hoses. And then they transfer on the other side. And so just at the front, they are connected again to the metal pipe. And this hose is all wet. So it's probably was leaking here too a bit. So we'll try to disconnect it at the pipe. Disconnect it over here. Remove that clamp just under the AC and pull that hose out. Then we'll come up with the plan. So there should be no issues removing those two hose clamps. So now we want to go ahead and remove that 10mm bolt and get that clamp loose. Alright, so I ended up pulling entire assembly, so I disconnected the hose, and then 2 clamps on one side, 2 on the other side. Just use Channellock pliers, easy to remove. So at this point, I see that all those lines are wet too. So I want to take a look on the other side if they are still good or not. We'll just remove this zip ties and go ahead and remove those clamps. We'll need them when we install the new hose. So This one doesn't look too bad. And this obviously is supply to the radiator, and this is return because that's the one that burst. So it seems like it's actually leaking on this crimp end, what is not a big surprise. For some reason GM cannot get those cooler lines right on any truck or SUV, unfortunately. Alright, so here's the plan. We will get rid of this assembly because we don't have one, and probably the only place to get it would be the dealership, and we'll be looking at least $200, if not more. And it's late in the evening, so we need to work with what we have. So for the return line that takes much less pressure, we'll just use regular transmission line, 3/8 or 9.5 mil. And with same clamps, since it's the same size hoses as it used to be, we will not leave this bracket and will not leave this pipe. Theoretically, we could have cut them over here, make a flare and make another connection, but they are leaking here, they are leaking here. So we'll just get rid of 2 extra connections. We'll just put a straight hose that will be returned. For the supply, we are using heavier gauge hose. This is actually power steering pressure hose. It's much thicker and can withhold way more pressure. So for that reason, since it's bigger, we'll just use 2 regular clamps, hose clamps, and we also cover it in a plastic loom and use a bunch of zip ties to keep it in place instead of this bracket. Okay, so both hoses are ready. I will get them installed, and after that we'll zip tie them together. Alright, so the hoses are installed and clamped, and there are some zip ties attached to the frame, so it's nice and solid. Same on this side. So one hose go there, another one on the other side, and it turned out really well. And this probably will be the first time they will say that it's probably is better than from a factory, because those crimped cooler hoses, they all leak sooner or later. In this case, we have 2 ends with hose clamps tight. There is no way that they will start to leak. The hose that takes the most of pressure is high pressure hose that will never fail in this scenario. The other hose might, but not this one. The other one takes way less pressure, so I don't see it failing anytime soon. So next we will fill up the system. Alright, so let's talk fluid a little bit. So these GM vehicles, they usually call for ATF Dexron VI, and my strong opinion is that we have mineral transmission oil or fluid, and then we have semi-synthetic or mix, and then we have synthetic. Anything that is synthetic is basically the same. Dextron, Marcon, ATF +4, then LV. Though there was always difference between the automatic and CVT. Let's say Nissan calls for an S1, an S2, and S3. This is the first time I got this Castrol Transmax that is compatible for ATF and CVT universal. So it's GM40, like if you look back, it says for use in virtually all automatic and CVT transmission, including GM4, Toyota, Honda, and many more. And if you look in here, it actually lists Nissan CVT, NS1, NS2, NS3, Subaru CVT fluid. So it seems like they got to the point where you don't need 100 different fluids on shelves. You just have something universal, and I think that's the right way to go. I still have a little bit of hesitancy to believe that one fits all, but if they pass all the tests, must be legit. So anyway, if you look for regular ATF, Dexron VI is the right power steering fluid for this. In our case, it's universal, fits all, so we'll use this Castrol Transmax. So since this vehicle has been driven quite a few kilometers with no fluid, it's pretty empty, so we will start with the engine off. Okay, so now when the reservoir is full, we will start the engine and let it idle to pump the fluid through the rack and pinion, through the cooler, through all the lines. So when you start the engine, you will hear some cavitation, and that's because there are lots of air in the system. So we will keep adding the fluid as it goes, as the level goes down. So this should get of the majority of the air. Also, the fluid will get quite foamy because of the air. So we will let it idle a bit. I'll show you how it looks. So there are lots of foam and there are lots of air, but you can see that it's bubbling and it's going down. So we will let it idle until no air is coming out. So the pump has circulated the fluid through all the lines, but rack and pinion is still most likely empty. So we have the vehicles off the ground in the air right now. So we'll start spinning the wheel slowly to the left, and you don't want to lock it in place. You just go to the left almost all the way, and then to the right, and then again to the left. So in this way you're getting rid of that air. Don't lock it in place all the way, where it creates lots and lots of pressure and will create lots of bubbles. So you just go to the left and to the right a few times, get rid of that air, and at the same time we'll go back under the hood and we'll check the level. So the level is still quite good. We cannot see actual level of the fluid. There are lots of foam, but it's still in a funnel. So we'll keep spinning the steering wheel to the left and to the right a few more times. And it's always good to have no pressure on the wheels. In that case, the air comes out way easier. Okay, we have shut the engine off, and there are still a few bubbles coming out, so we will leave funnel there for now. So while we still have a good access, we check for any leaks. Everything is dry over here as well as over here, so I'm quite happy with the job that was done. So last thing would be to install this apron with a bunch of 7mm and 2 10mm bolts, and we'll call it done. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please check links in the description to the video to all the tools and parts you might need, and to my new Amazon store. Thanks for watching. Take care, and as always, just do it yourself.